Hello and welcome to the next edition of I Don't Work Here Lady. We've got several stories today that I think you'll like. One is why you shouldn't touch someone that you don't know, otherwise you might pay the consequences. And also I got a story that sounds like it might be a little bit too good to be true. If it is, this guy's awesome. So without further ado, let's get started. For a little backstory, I'm in my junior year, 11th grade, and I'm taking an education course. It basically teaches you how to be a teacher. You have to have some field experience or practical work. We basically get sent to a school and put into a classroom to help the teacher. It's a great way to see if teaching is right for you. Well, the classroom I'm currently stationed in is a pretty good one. I know my teacher pretty well because she was my teacher and my brother's teacher when we were younger. This means she trusts me a lot, and I'm able to do a lot more for her than I would for other teachers. Her class is having a back to school party, and the teacher asked me if I minded getting some stuff for that night, like sodas and candy and the like. The reason why she asked me is because she forgot, mainly because she's old, and it happens. Of course, I agree. I go to the local store, and I grab 3 12-packs of soda. There are only 24 students in the class, and I wasn't sure what they liked. Plus, the teacher could just want to have some leftovers. So I also decided to grab some small gifts, like candy or small toys, that were pretty cheap. By the time I'm finished, my cart is pretty full. I was obviously shopping and not working. As I'm walking with my till, I decided to go ahead and grab some cheap things, specifically for me, so I can have for dinner that night. So I stop my cart and start reaching up to grab things. While I'm turned around, this woman starts digging through my cart. I quickly stop her.
Hey, put that back. Well, aren't you stocking the shelves? I'm just taking some of the candy.
Now, to be fair, I am wearing the school's uniform, which is pretty similar to the store's. Both are khakis and a blue polo. But the store shirt, they have the store's name on the back. I decided to give her the benefit of the doubt, and I say, "No, I'm shopping. I need that candy for school, so please put it back." She starts to get huffy and says,
"You're wearing the uniform. Stop lying, or I'll have you fired. My husband's the manager, you know."
Now I know she's lying. You know why? Because my cousin is the manager. And my cousin is married, and it's definitely not with her because he's gay. So I say, "I know that isn't true. Just give me my candy back." I take it back from her, and I head for the till. As I'm checking out, I see her complaining to none other than my cousin. I pay, and I decided to let her know that I know she was full of crap. I go up and give my cousin a big hug and ask him,
"So how's your husband doing?"
Her face went red, and she hurried off. My best friend and roommate works for a small independent print shop as a graphic designer. We live in the burbs, and the shop is located about half an hour from our house. Oftentimes, I will go downtown for an appointment of some kind, and we will ride home together rather than take the train. Usually it's around 4 p.m., and the only people left in the shop are her and a specific coworker. So I just hang out in the front area, and I play with my laptop. It's around 5 p.m. The doors are locked, and the both of them are gathering their things over the next 15 to 20 minutes before they actually leave. They are often out of sight. They are packing up in the back. Last Friday was one such day. It's around 5:10, and a lady comes up to the door. Mind you, this is a glass door. She saw me sitting there and started tapping on the door. I looked up and I mouthed,
"Shop is closed."
She yelled back,
"I have a question."
I pointed at my wrist and said loudly,
"I'm sorry, the shop is closed. It's 5, and I don't work here."
She grabbed the handle of the door and started shaking it violently, as if she could magically make the door open. Then she started pounding on the door. So I set my laptop down and walked over to the door, and she screamed,
"I only have one question. Can you let me in so I can talk to you?"
At this point, screaming was really not necessary, as we're only separated by a glass door. So I said,
"Ma'am, I don't work here, and the door's locked from the inside by a key. I don't have it. I can't let you in."
And she screamed,
"Why are you being such an asshole? I know you're closed, but it's one question."
Then, to emphasize her point, she slams her open palm on the glass door. It absolutely shattered. Honestly, I've never seen anything like it before. It not just cracked a little, but it spiderwebbed out. It went to shards and fell to the ground. Fortunately, I had stepped back. The lady blinked in shock and then started to speed walk away. Fortunately, we're in a massive metropolitan city, and I was able to follow her only half a block before I saw a police officer. I called the police officer over, and he walked us both back to the shop, with the lady ranting about how it wasn't her fault, and if I would have just let her in, blah blah blah. Well, the officer called for backup. 2 more officers arrived, and this is before my friend and the co-worker came up front. They took another officer back to the back to see the security footage, and it was digitally captured. That was pretty much that. The lady got arrested. I had to give a statement, and I told them I'll probably testify in court on behalf of the shop owner, so that there'll be civil penalties added to the criminal charges. That'll help them in small claims court, which I will gladly do. I've been mistaken for an employee more often than I can count. It doesn't matter the store, time of day, what I'm wearing, someone will ask me for help. My fiance didn't believe me at first, but now that we go to the grocery store together, he noticed how often someone will ask me where something is or if something is in stock. A few times, I can reason it away as a stranger asking for help for something they can't reach, which in most cases, they are little old folks, and they want to get stuff down, and it's usually too high up for them. I put it down to having a generally friendly face, despite my best attempts at developing a resting bitch face. More often than not, it's just some moron who didn't give a dang about which plebe helped them, only that they needed help right now. This is the third type. So, I'm in the store, I have a basket over my arm, and I'm checking my list, when this dude walks up very close to me. No mask, and asked if I can call someone for the sporting goods area. I am in the plumbing area, wearing a dress with sandals with a very cute Pikachu mask. I politely tell him that I don't work there, and that there's an employee on the other aisle over. But he stares at me long enough for me to suspect he didn't hear me. So I go to repeat myself, and his face goes full dark red. Well, you know where this is going. He does this little rant about how he needs help. And is it really so hard to take a few seconds to walk to the counter? And I shouldn't be on my phone when I'm supposed to be working. Again, I've heard all of this before some way or another, so I just roll my eyes and walk away. Well, that was a big mistake apparently. He grabs my shoulder and spins me around. It's so fast that I drop my phone and my basket. I'm not a big person, and I have some history, which makes it not a good idea to grab me. Well, some warrior spirit welled up inside me, and it takes over my body. I grab his fingers and I wrench them back, while releasing a primordial scream. This one would have sent every demon scurrying back to hell. He tries to jump back, but I bent his fingers so quickly, I felt his knuckles pop. And he was looking wide-eyed between me and the 2 limp fingers on his hand. I'm too stunned about what I've just done, and I don't move. Remember that employee on the other aisle? Well, at this point, probably after I screamed, he came around to investigate. And he's suddenly right next to me, asking what's going on. This dude is cradling his hand, and he yells, "She broke my hand!" I start to feel my anxiety and embarrassment flaring up, so I quickly pick up my phone and basket from the floor. The employee is radioing the manager. I just start putting my stuff back in my basket. The dude is yelling, and he won't let the employee see his hand. I stand back up and wait. For what or why, my little brain doesn't know. I reverted back to my 10-year-old self when I was sent to a principal's office. The manager summons a police officer who's been staking out the grocery store since the lockdown. The manager gets the dude a mask and brings him a first aid kit, while the cop asks questions about what happened. Statements are taken, then the dude calms down. I'm asked to wait in the manager's office. I'm stuck in there for close to 3 hours, until the officer comes in and asks if I want to press charges. I'm stunned. I quickly say no without thinking. Not that I would have pressed charges, but even hours later, I'm embarrassed and I feel like I'm in trouble. Well, she says alright and I'm free to go. Turns out, I was assaulted and defended myself, per the security footage and the employee on the next aisle over. He had heard me and the dude talking, and the dude yelling. then my tiny girl voice ringing out in a defiant tiger roar. So he backed up what the video showed. I had dislocated 2 of the guy's fingers, and somehow I dug my nails into his hand, enough to draw blood. He was told in no uncertain terms that I did not work here. And what was wrong with him? Grabbing someone like that? Even if I was an employee, he still would have been in serious trouble. And he was lucky that I didn't press charges, to quote a wonderfully funny comedian. So I grabbed my stuff and left. So are you comfy? Cool, let's begin. First, the cast. Crazy angry lady. Then my boss, awesome boss, who can be a bit forgetful at times. Then my coworker, which is also awesome. And me, obviously. This was many years ago. I used to work at an after-school youth center. It mainly had children from the age of 10 to 15. I primarily watched the children, helped with problem solving and parent contact. It was one hot day, and the kids were outside playing and enjoying themselves. I was sitting on a bench, helping a girl with some of her homework. You know that feeling that you have when you actually feel like someone is eyeing the back of your head? Yeah, I suddenly got that feeling, and I looked around, and yes, there she was. To be honest, she looked exactly like a Karen meme, all its glory. I smiled and said hi, and her eyes started to burst into flames, and to burn deep into my very soul because I said hi to her. Not literally, but still.
Can you get me someone who works here?
See, we had about 50 kids at my workplace, and I know all the parents. She was not one of them. I thought she was a girlfriend of one of the single parents, so I got up and said that I worked there.
No, you don't. Don't? You are just a lonely parent who can't leave their kids alone. Go get me someone who actually works here.
I was just silent.
Are you stupid?
I just sat back down.
Some days, yes. Other days, I can't be bothered to answer rude people.
She just stares at me, without saying a word for about a minute or two. I start to help the girl out with her homework again, and my coworker comes over.
Hey, are you helping that girl with her homework? I could use your help at the soccer field.
Sorry, I don't work here.
What?
Then the coworker notices the angry crazy lady.
Hi, I am...
I don't care. Do you work here?
Yes?
Would you tell this person that is being very rude to me to stop pretending that they work here?
The coworker looks over at me.
What the...
Are you the one who's gonna interview me?
Interview?
Then I see the boss, so I yell at him to come over. The angry crazy lady sees him and rushes toward him. She is practically running at him. The girl that I'm helping is whispering to me that the lady is rude. I just nod, and I just said she didn't do her homework. That's why she's so mean. Now do your homework. And the girl laughs at that. Big mistake. Crazy lady turns around and looks straight at me while saying,
Get that kid to shut up.
See, I'm a gentle person. I try to look at the world with a positive mind. But at that remark, I snapped. I get up and go over to the crazy lady and the boss. I ignore crazy lady, and I ask the boss who she is. The boss says,
Oh, this is Karen. She's here to interview as my assistant. But I don't think we're going to proceed. Have a nice day, Karen.
She looks at me, then looks at him, then asks,
Why?
If you have no idea what you have done wrong, then I'm sure that you don't fit with us. Please leave now.
She leaves with a dumbfounded look on her face. Legend says she still has no idea what she did wrong. So here's a little bit of backstory about this fluke of a circumstance. About a year ago, I moved back into my childhood home, and I lived with my papaw. He's a really chill guy, and he's just lonely because all of his kids are 40 plus, and the only people that he talked to regularly are pretty much in the same boat. My return was only shortly before the pandemic started, so he's been cool with me staying rent-free until I find a full-time job. So we've largely lived off of food stamps to get by. That being said, we make a serious grocery run about once a month. The same night, we try to make it a monthly steak night so that we live off more than just rice, canned soup, and coupons. I spent roughly 12 years living in a household of folks who's practically obsessed with cooking, so I'm fairly good at it. It's not a one-stop shop, so we end up taking a whole day, stopping and getting each item. We usually end up shopping at Wally World for some of our stuff. On this particular day, I just came back from my local Amazon location, trying to get a job, so I was dressed up with nice shoes, my best blue jeans, and a blue polo. If you can't guess where this is going, you haven't read enough of these stories. Though to the credit of the managers at this location, at least the fine brave people who work at this store, wear uniform vests that have the company logo on the back, most likely to avoid this situation. I met my papaw there, and we started shopping. As we stock up on instant ramen and the like, we aren't talking much. We start shopping like a well-oiled machine. We both know what our house needs to fit our budget. After a while, I hear footsteps approaching from behind, so I step a bit over to let them pass. Then I feel it. Something out of a horror movie. 4 or 5 hard-edged fingers moving against the back of my neck without warning. So like most sane people, I assume that something's trying to sting or bite me, so I slap the back of my neck. I do it as hard and fast as my reflexes allow. Then I feel my hand connecting with something large, and in reaction, I attempt to grab it so that I could throw it off, twisting my hand around, trying to see what it was. And when I twist around, it's a frail-looking woman in her 80s, looking at me in shock, with the fingers of her right hand caught in my grip. Instantly, I let her fingers go. I turn to face her, trying to lighten the mood with a wisecrack. Not the best idea ever, huh? She narrows her eyes at me, and with her cheeks and lips sagging like an English bulldog, she grumps at me.
Excuse me?
You're excused, I reply out of habit, gesturing that she's free to get by. And no, I wasn't oblivious to her temper. I was just ignoring it so that we could all just move on with our day. Apparently she doesn't appreciate my efforts, and she smacks me on the arm. Not like it hurt, because I'm a big 6-foot-tall man. She looked like a strong breeze could snap her in half. So her smack had as much effect as a slung loaf of bread. Off to my right, I hear my papaw.
Hey now!
He goes ignored, as the old lady says.
Is that the way you treat a lady, young man?
I don't know, I reply as I rub the scratches on the back of my neck. If I see one, I'll make sure to ask. Her jaw falls open. She actually kicks me below the knee. That one I actually felt, and I scowled at her.
Geez, lady, save it for the ring, okay, Mrs. Tyson?
That was the first boxer to come to mind.
You're really rude. Where's your manager?
I blink a few times, and I actually smile, as it clicks what is actually happening. I watch a lot of channels on YouTube that read stories like this aloud, usually when I'm busy with other stuff. So my mind switched from a little scared to a chance to have a bit of fun.
Tahiti, maybe? He's on a timeshare right now.
I reply with a smirk. She huffs and rolls her eyes, still massaging her fingers.
Oh, whatever. Just give me your name and number to report you.
My papaw tries to cut in.
Ma'am?
She all but hollers.
Name and number.
Dramatically, I put my hand on my chest.
Oh, but ma'am, that is so improper. I'll have you know my wife looks very poorly at me giving out my number to other women.
Okay, I'm single, but I wanted to watch her mentally trip over herself. She does an impression of a fish with her mouth before something catches her eye down the aisle.
You, come here.
I look and I see an actual employee heading our way. I smirk, and then I blatantly stage whisper so that both of them could hear me.
Run away, run away.
If looks could kill, that lady would have turned me into a red mist. The employee endured a few minutes of her chastising me while I looked as bored as I could be, and he looks at me and he tells her,
He doesn't work here.
Spotting a chance, I loudly and sarcastically say over the lady's retort,
Oh, come on, Jimmy.
his name tag actually said Max.
Don't tell me you forgot me. It's Ben Take It. My middle name is Dovrend. Anything?
My papaw actually burst out wheezing coughs, something that passes for laughter. I think he's the only one that caught my joke, so I asked Max.
You know where I can get my papaw some tea?
The old lady starts to catch on at this point, so I am pointedly ignoring her while she's focused on Max. So we quietly make our escape. My papaw looks over at me and says,
Kid, you're f***ing weird.
I glance back at the lady down the aisle and reply to him.
That's better than crazy.
He shrugs with a nod, and we carry on with our shopping. Thank you very much for joining me for this edition of I Don't Work Here Lady. If you're not already, please subscribe for more content. Also hit that like button. It really helps the channel. Also, it'd be nice if you share. That'd be cool too. I'd really appreciate it. I want to give a special thanks to my patrons. You really help this channel keep going. If you want to also help out the channel, you could either become a patron, which is in the link in the description, check out some of my merch, which is also listed below, plus comment. I'd love to hear them. I read every one that I get. You can also follow me on Instagram or Facebook. We post some extra stuff from time to time that we think that you might enjoy. Also a little bit about ourselves. Thank you again for watching, and until next time, this is Dallas signing off.